The Cripple Creek District, known in its heyday as the world's greatest gold camp, lies on the backside of Pikes Peak in Colorado, in what is commonly known as a caldera. This ancient volcano, located in the 39-mile volcanic field, measures roughly 6 square miles and is surrounded on all sides by a rough and crumbly combination of quartz, feldspar, and mica. At the edge of the caldera is what is known today as Mount Pisgah. Over 35 million years ago, 10,400-foot tall Mount Pisgah was just another small volcano. When the larger volcano collapsed after erupting through older rock, giant boulders shattered around the basin. Mineral-rich solutions, including gold, flowed into the faults and fissures created by the collapse. The veins cooled, condensed, and hardened over time. Unlike 95% of the gold on the planet, Cripple Creek gold actually looks gray in its natural form, due to the intense heat from this process.
This gold deposit is unique in some ways. It's very large. It's not as rich as some, say the Golden Mile in Australia, but I think for total ounces that have been and will be produced, that it ranks, I would guess, among the top 4 or 5 gold districts of the world.
In 1891, cowboy Bob Womack convinced others that gold existed in this district, and the boom was on. In time, the Cripple Creek District spanned 24 square miles, with 25 towns and camps, as well as hundreds of mines. 33 millionaires, including Winfield Scott Stratton, James Burns, Ed De La Verne, Albert Carlton, Spencer Penrose, and Charles Tutt were generated in the next 15 years. By 1896, over $19 million in gold had been produced. There were 350 working mines, and about 30 assayers worked in the district. The word assay, or cupellation as it is known today, means to separate valuable metals, such as gold or silver, from base materials, such as lead. During the 1800s, cupellation was known as fire assaying. Surprisingly, the assay process has not changed much over the last 100 years. Gold ore is still blasted, crushed, separated, powdered, and assayed to assess the value of gold per ton of ore. 100 years ago, assayers applied a variety of chemicals, such as mercury, carbon, and acid, for use in the assay process. They were mixed with crushed ore to find out the pure gold content. Assaying is an important part of the mining process, since the technique tells how much pure gold is in the rock, as well as its value. Today, the Cripple Creek and Victor mine has picked up where the gold boom left off. The mine's majority owner, Anglo Gold Ashanti, mines gold in 10 other countries, including Russia, China, Australia, and Brazil. The Cripple Creek and Victor mine is its only North American operation. Since 1995, the Cripple Creek and Victor mine has processed over 20 million tons of gold ore in the Cripple Creek District. By 2004, the mine has produced an amazing 2 million ounces of 99.5% pure gold. Back in 1899, the United Mine Tunnel was built to process gold ore mined in the city of Victor. The tunnel emptied out into what was later called Eclipse Gulch. Victor founders Harry and Frank Woods financed the construction of a huge mill called the Economic Gold Extraction Company. In its time, the Economic gained prominence as one of the first mills to use a chlorination process to refine gold in the district. Furnaces at the mill were fired by crude oil brought up on the Florence and Cripple Creek Railroad, which ran nearby. Up to this point, both the Florence and Cripple Creek and Colorado Midland Terminal Railroad had serviced the mines by hauling ore out of the district to be processed. At its peak, the Economic was processing 300 tons of ore daily. Even Theodore Roosevelt was impressed by this number during a visit in 1901. Unlike the old days of processing large amounts of gold, open pits are blasted and bulldozed to mine the ore. Today, the Cripple Creek and Victor mine uses the heap leaching process to remove gold from the earth. After the gold is assayed, ore is heaped onto a padded leach pond with cyanide and other chemicals. Next, the gold is processed through carbon columns and kilns. After passing through a tilt furnace and electrolytic tank, the gold is then poured into cones. This last process varies slightly from the days when miners mucked the gold themselves, shipped it above ground, and sent it by wagon or train to be processed. During the late 1800s and early 1900s, the closest mill was the Golden Cycle, located in Colorado City on the west side of Colorado Springs. In 1935, President Franklin D. Roosevelt successfully requested Congress to set the price of gold at $35 per ounce. The act resulted in increased mining, but hard rock mining in the Cripple Creek District became increasingly expensive. With the construction of the Carlton Mill in 1949, the Golden Cycle Mill in Colorado City fell into disuse. Although the Cripple Creek District still ranks as the 5th most valuable gold camp in the world, hard rock mining became too expensive, and the mines of the Cripple Creek District closed down, one by one. Some say it was singer John Denver who revived an interest in Colorado during the 1970s. But the revival included a new interest in mining, especially after President Richard Nixon eradicated Franklin Roosevelt's gold standard so that the price of gold could rise in 1970. Today, the Cripple Creek and Victor mine is the largest operation in Teller County and the biggest open-pit mine in Colorado. Smaller mining operations also continue to work around the district. Here at the Cripple Creek District Museum, the 1890s assay office offers the only glimpse into mining techniques of the past.
I think that today the geologists, geophysicists, and engineers that work on these deposits can learn from the work that has been done in the last 100 years. They learn and have been able to do some of the things today because they didn't have to repeat what the people did 100 years ago.